Wow, I just finished watching episode 7, and the reaction is, as with many, I believe, it's going to be a crazy cliffhanger and how it ended. At least we got the reunion we really wanted, but episode 8 is just, it's going to be something epic. This finale is shaping up to be crazy, crazy good because we don't have just two storylines. We're not following the old gang of Ahsoka, Sabine, and now Ezra. They're all reunited. Huyang too. We're not following just Thrawn and Morgan Elsbeth. Now we are following BAYLAN too, who just went off on his own journey. And I was scared for a little bit there. I was scared when Ahsoka confronted him, and I thought that this was going to be the end of BAYLAN for sure, and we would never find out what he was actually talking about and what he wanted out of this whole trip. Because we definitely see now that he was misleading everybody, even Thrawn. He kept his word. He found Ezra and then sent Shin Hati and the raiders against him. But Ahsoka I thought she spoiled the party for a second there. But man, just to pause a little bit on BAYLAN, he is. I really don't know what they're going to do with him because it kind of seems now that BAYLAN will survive season 1. I mean, now that he's off the grid completely, it kind of seems that he will not be killed in this season, and he survived season 1. So with Ray Stevenson being gone, the actor, I don't really know how they plan on bringing him back for season 2. It's really sad and a big question mark at the end there. How will they do it? Will they recast him? I mean, good luck filling the Ray Stevenson shoes right now because he is just playing BAYLAN to a T. He is one of the most enigmatic characters in, I would say, Star Wars history. No question, one of the more enigmatic characters, side characters in the live-action TV series, because all these side characters have kind of been forgettable for the most part, but BAYLAN is just cemented in Star Wars history, in my opinion, and he's going to be remembered for a long time after this series. I mean, I believe that like 5 years later, we're still going to talk about BAYLAN and how he achieved to do, even to fool Thrawn. You'd have to think about this for a second. Like, think about what BAYLAN just achieved. Not only did he fool like Ahsoka didn't, maybe she'll never find out now why he's here, why he came to Peridia, why he wanted to help like Morgan Elsbeth find Thrawn. But he managed to fool Thrawn. Thrawn, while he was looking at his map and schematics, he didn't factor in that BAYLAN would eventually leave him. He was actually surprised that Lord BAYLAN wasn't there on the battlefield. And of course, he probably deducted that he went off on his own doing something, whatever his true mission was, and he found out late, but he definitely found out now that BAYLAN has his own agenda, bruh. He is not after what you're after. And it was also cool to see like these neat little details. To see that BAYLAN just lets Shin Hati go, doesn't force her to join him, and he doesn't try to convince her for this greater power or this greater good, whatever BAYLAN is chasing. We talked in an earlier video about Abeloth, and maybe Abeloth, the mother of Mortis, is calling upon BAYLAN because she has been imprisoned here on Peridia for so long, and perhaps she is calling to BAYLAN because in episode 6, we hear BAYLAN actually say that something is calling, don't you hear it? He is saying this to Shin Hati. And it seems like Shin is not on that level. She doesn't hear what is calling, and she has her own ambition. So it was really awesome to see BAYLAN not be a forceful master. He sees that Shin has her own ambitions. She just craves power similar to the others, and he lets her go. He tells her to, capture the moment and go for it, but has a parting advice for a last time that they see each other, probably. And he says that, well, when you crave victory the most, that's when you fail, verbatim, kind of. But it's really interesting. I don't know if we're gonna have a BAYLAN character ever in Star Wars. He is truly, really enigmatic. And credits to Dave Filoni, of course, guys. I mean, Dave Filoni achieved something with this character, and specifically the casting and Ray Stevenson. This whole collaboration brought a new character to life, and we're going to remember BAYLAN. If he survive season one, then I mean they have no other choice but to recast him with somebody else. And yeah, that's really, I think that's gonna be trouble. I don't know what to say there, but we got the reunion we wanted. Ahsoka seemed to have a lot more life here in episode 7. She actually laughed when she met Ezra again. The reunion. And what's interesting is, again, Shin Hati. I mean, these two characters, BAYLAN and Shin, have been the most interesting part of this series, kind of, because we see her cowardice in the end. She didn't want to join Ahsoka. She actually, like, offered to save her, redeem her in a sense. Her only condition was to surrender her weapon, and she didn't elect to do that. She actually ran away, scareful. And, you could see her downfall. She's young, she's naive, and she thinks that this is all there is to it. And it's going to be interesting to see, does Shin Hati run back to Thrawn, or is she going to now search out her master and finally confront him, tell him about what he is actually doing here, what is his purpose here? And she's probably going to join him, because it seems like Shin is kind of sick and tired of all these games. And, there's something to why she was gravitated towards having BAYLAN as her master. Other than that, I would say that this was a pretty regular episode. I mean, it was action-packed. We saw what we saw from Thrawn. Thrawn was classic Thrawn. All those scheming and planning, and in the end we find out that he is just stalling for time because he needs to load the cargo that we saw in episode 6. It seems like he is loading bodies from the catacombs of this witch tower, possibly an army of the undead, still not revealed. Probably is gonna be revealed in episode 8 at the ending there. I am in the mindset that they won't leave Peridia yet, but as things are shaping up, I mean, it's 50-50. It would be a great idea to just stick with this new galaxy, and it will give Dave Filoni a chance to, create complete new storylines and, great trajectory for a completely new saga in this new galaxy. We constantly talked about, will the Force work in this new galaxy? And, by Ezra himself, it seems like it's working just fine. Ezra still retains some of his Force abilities, although we see that he has become weak and wary. He doesn't want his lightsaber back. He probably is fearful of, having lost everything. And we're definitely going to see Ahsoka bring him back to action, because bringing him up to speed. She's probably going to train him in lightsaber combat. She's probably going to train him in Force abilities, because I mean, by God, Prime Ezra would never lose to Shin, and he got pushed hard by Shin there. So it shows you that Ezra has definitely lost a step here. So I think that episode 8 might not focus a lot on training, but we're just going to get a scene here and there where Ezra is trying to focus more, because he needs to use his abilities in episode 8. All of them need to use their abilities. Ahsoka is now Prime Ahsoka, although it was very interesting to see that even like her training and preparing with Anakin's hologram there, with his last lesson. We finally get that speech that we got in the trailers that, wasn't talked about when she was in the World Between Worlds with him. So now the Anakin arc, I think, is complete. But even Ahsoka training and prepping and all that, she still couldn't beat BAYLAN. This is very interesting to me, because BAYLAN seems to be this great, powerful guy that even Prime Ahsoka cannot beat. So really, really interesting. And the choice there to, as I said in the beginning, I thought BAYLAN was done for, and I really wanted to know what was the next step he was going to take. What is this mystery agenda that he's on? that he's not telling anybody about. But not only did he survive, not only did BAYLAN survive, but he beat Ahsoka again. In the previous duel, we thought that, Ahsoka got, her hand burned with the star map, and that's why she was weakened. Again, she thought that Sabine had died when she saw Shin. So BAYLAN took advantage and blah, blah, blah. But, still, even she is healthy, she is just been training, prepping, and she still couldn't beat BAYLAN. So it was pretty awesome to see that. So I think that definitely this is an undead army that Thrawn is loading onto his ship. He's gonna try to leave. Why I think that it's not gonna be successful is, of course, if he leaves, I mean, these guys can't be stuck here. Ezra, Ahsoka, and Sabine. So they need to be on board that ship if it eventually leaves. But both of them willingly together on that ship, I don't think that's going to happen. Somebody's going to need to die, and somebody's going to come back. So I don't think in the Ahsoka show they will kill Ahsoka and Ezra. So I don't think Thrawn will die either. I don't know what's going to happen, honestly, in Episode 8. And if it were up to me, that last line when Ezra says that it seems like we're going to go back home after all, it seems like Dave is shifting us to believe that they're going to go back eventually in Episode 8. I would really just like it for it not to be so, because this new galaxy just offers way too much of a, rich and powerful storyline. But I get it if they go back. Of course, don't get me wrong, like I'm not naive thinking that this is just a, just a whole new chapter, adventure, and F everything that's going on back there. There is still stories to tell in the old galaxy, of course. Everybody is awaiting Thrawn. The Imperial Remnant is awaiting the return of Thrawn. We saw that in The Mandalorian Season 3. So they're primed and ready. Thrawn wants to go back and, as he said, leave this forsaken place. So he wants to go back. These guys, the good guys, Ezra, Ahsoka, and Sabine, want to go back. So I'm in the thinking that they will go back. However, the sequels kind of, that's the problem. Like the sequels kind of ruin everything, because the First Order was the one who destroyed the New Republic as we know it. The Thrawn didn't with his Imperial Remnant, so I guess we know what the outcome is going to be, and that's not fun. Like, that's not fun at all. We know that Thrawn will eventually lose to this New Republic, and this remnant of a remnant that's going to be left behind, they're eventually going to form the First Order, and blah blah blah. We know what happens with the sequels. It's kind of terrible. Palpatine returns. Even like Sabine jokes about it, and when Ezra mentions that, so the Emperor died, and she says that's what people said. So it's treated as a rumor, which eventually will be proven to not be true. The Emperor lives somehow. Palpatine's returns somehow. So really, really fascinating stuff. And what do you guys think? I mean, do you want to? It doesn't depend on us, but I would love to explore this new galaxy. But do you think they will return in Episode 8, or will they leave it a bit more time and possibly return in Season 2, which I know it's coming? So thank you, and talk to me down below.